Good afternoon. My name is Scott Rutledge, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead.
观众朋友，大家好，欢迎收看今天的直击美股，我是主持人赵冰晶，在纽约向您问好。首先，我们来关注一下周三的美股市场。周三的美股市场受到油价动荡不已，以及德意志银行命运未卜的影响呢，是走出了一个 V 字形反转的行情。首先，在早盘阶段呢是微幅高开，而在午盘呢是一定程度上的受压。受压的主要压力来自于美联储主席耶伦的一番讲话。耶伦表示，对于加息并没有具体的时间表，但是随着就业市场强劲，美国经济呢有可能过热。那么这一番言论呢被市场解读为鹰派，因此在午盘阶段给了市场不小的压力。而在下午时刻，主要股指又全力上冲，上冲的主要动能来自于原油市场。今天 OPEC 表示，有可能会在11月份的 OPEC 正式会议上达成冻产协议，给了油市一个不错的上涨动能。好的，具体的消息我们来看一下今天的交易员采访。The oil gave the market a big boost this afternoon with the expectation that OPEC's gonna cut the output in November. Well, yesterday, the Saudi and Iran failed to reach the deal, and we almost gave up the hope that these guys actually gonna agree on something on the final day. But surprisingly, they do give us the deal. So my concern is, do you buy this expectation? Will it finally going away?
Well, you know, I have a rule saying you never short an igniting bar. Okay, and today on that news, oil ignited. Okay, and you know the consensus this year has been wrong. The consensus was nothing would get done. So at 12 o'clock or so, when they came up with the news release, you know, oil rallied and so did the market. So if you want to look here at the oil sector, let's look at the XLE. The XLE wound up holding above the 200-day, you know, pretty much for the last 4 months, which is sort of constructive. Then you have XLE making a huge move to reclaim all these moving averages, okay, and engulf this whole little range. So to me, I would not be shorting this. You know, if you went a little long, okay, but I wouldn't go all in long because just in case the actual release isn't the same as what came out today, maybe it's down a little bit, so you'd want to be able to buy that dip. And in order for this to be real, you would think that this doesn't get back below 68. But all in all, you know, XLE has been a bit of a laggard, okay? And, you know, the one constructive thing you could say, it's been above the 200-day for the majority of the last 5-6 months. And now maybe this news puts these stocks back in the game, which would actually make it decent, you know, for the SPX. Why would it make it decent? Because it would help a broader range or a broader rally, which, you know, at this point we retested this prior resistance that came into as, you know, support. You take a look closer here today, and you will see that the S&P had a nice move. Okay, it started post-Fed and retested and resumed. I'm not thinking we're going to make all-time highs soon, but I would say that the glass is half full in this market versus half empty right now.
All right. Well, earlier in the trading session, we got a little bit pressure from the Fed Chair Janet Yellen. She said they don't have a fixed timetable for raising rates. What is your opinion? What does that put on the market?
You know, I think now the market's like thinking December, okay? And if the stock market acts well and we're at new highs, chances are maybe they'll raise rates in December. If we're in this range and it's monotonous and we keep getting cuts in the IMF on growth, they're not going to do anything. At this point, you know what? The banks are just in a void. I would continue to look at stocks and not really put too much, you know, weight on what she says. If you want to take a look at a bank just to see how the banks are acting, because if rates are going to go up, banks should be acting well. And banks are kind of not acting, you know, so hot, especially considering the Wells Fargo news. Maybe, you know, J.P. Morgan, if you needed to have some kind of exposure to one of them, would be the one. But at this point, I feel like we're in a range, okay? And again, you know, go to the Qs. You know, you want to make sure that some sectors stay strong. And right now, you know, the Qs are the strongest sector. And as long as the Qs continue to trend to the upside, you know what, the banks, because of maybe them being out of play or rates, you know, that'll, you know, keep things in check.
All right, about the banks. Things with Deutsche Bank seems like getting better. The stocks got a rebound from all-time low, and the CEO said they don't need government's help. They're gonna sell some assets to pay off the 14 billion.
Is that it? Just 14 billion?
14 billion.
Okay, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, well, you know, that's what helped us in the morning, right? Europe was up 1% because Deutsche Bank bounced. So, you know, as a trader, you need to know what the market is obsessing on. So yesterday we had a nice bounce or rally, And then everyone was worried, would there be more bad news on Deutsche Bank? And there wasn't for now. So that helped Europe, which is still trying to figure out where it's going to go. And maybe Deutsche Bank will be out of the headlines for a little while. But I do think at this point it's really election headlines. It's all about this range, and I wouldn't also get too caught up in the rally, considering that we have a few days left in the month and the quarter, and stocks tend to do better for marking up purposes.
以上就是今天节目的全部内容，感谢您的收看，我们下期再会。